Density Lab Report by Chris and Simon. The purpose of this lab was to find the density of objects and liquids and identify the objects and liquids based on their densities.
Graph 1 tells us that water has the same volume as its mass. This shows that water is 1 gram per milliliter. Our data shows that our experiment was perfect. Our experiment had variables such as temperature and impurities. Graph 2 shows that our lines were very close to the actual measurements. The variables in this experiment were temperature, impurities, utensils for measuring.
Graph 3 shows that we identified all 3 solutions correctly. We were off by at most 0.0025%. Other characteristics such as smell and viscosity helped us identify these solutions.
The overall purpose of these labs was to identify objects by their densities. The purpose of the first lab was to identify the density of water. The purpose of the second lab was to find the density of solids. Finally, the purpose of the last lab was to identify liquids based on their densities. In these labs, we became experts at finding density for water, solids, and liquids. While doing these labs, we found densities after making a number of mistakes. On the density of liquids lab, we repeatedly had to redo the experiment because we either got the wrong density or took too much of the liquid. We could improve by double and triple checking our measurements. We will take that into consideration on our next lab.
Flight Risk Movie Productions. Do not use without the explicit consent of Flight Risk Movie Productions.
Why are you still here? The movie's over. Go home. Shoo. Go.